Hi, everyone. Bill Renchler in the 1011 Now Streaming Studio. Hope everyone's having a nice Monday. Mondays are the days we get to hang out with Josh Planos from the Better Business Bureau. But, Josh, it's been since before Christmas, I think, was the last time we sat and we actually got to sit down and talk. How were your holidays? How has your 2025 been so far?
So far, so good. A little bit frenetic. I think it's I guess it might be syllabus week back at school, but I guess it feels a little bit like syllabus week as a professional, but good holidays nonetheless. Everybody played nicely together.
Good.
Good meals were had. So no complaints there. How about yours?
We did okay. We had some sickness kind of filter through the house, which was a little unfortunate. But everyone's back up on their feet, and kids are back at school. So we're excited to see what germs they bring home now that all the kids are back in school. Well, Josh, we're going to dive in today, talking about ways that we can kind of learn from the past, because history tends to repeat itself. And so if we look back now in 2024, you guys over at the Better Business Bureau have had a chance to kind of crunch the numbers and look at what the top scams were, not only here in Nebraska but across kind of the surrounding area and the surrounding states. And it changes as technology changes. I'm sure we've talked about that, but we get to see kind of what scammers were up to the most in 2024.
Yeah, Bill, we received 474 reports through BBB Scam Tracker. That's bbb.org/scam tracker from Nebraska residents that impacted some $4 million in losses. We know that those numbers are incomplete. There is a big old asterisk next to all of those reports because we know that that only captures a very small percentage of what is actually being experienced by people in the state. Of those 474, we know that 15 came from those between the ages of 18 and 24. That's a very, very small percent. And the reality is those between 18 and 24, our data shows, are the most likely to experience a scam and also the least likely to report a scam. And together, those facts really only help one person, and that's the scammer in any of these situations. So I encourage you as a member of the public to please bring your information forward when you do experience something. I know it causes some frustration. I know it requires a bit of time, but it really is important to have as complete a picture as we can of what is actually being experienced by folks in and around the state. 474 is already 474 too many reports, right? But the reality is that this is something that we're all experiencing more or less throughout the year. And so it's something to be on the lookout for, because a lot of these trends really are shared across the Midwest. These are not unique to Nebraska, as our data shows, but they are something to be vigilant of, so as to not.
It's kind of counterintuitive a little bit, Josh. We expect maybe the younger generation to be obviously more technologically advanced, than some of the older folks. But like you just said, it actually is that youngest generation that is most susceptible, but they're the least likely to report. So a little counterintuitive there. Kind of can be tough to wrap your head around.
Yeah, and yet, I give presentations as part of my job with the Better Business Bureau, and I hear from people all the time who say, so many of these scams are so new, it's really hard to stay on top of all of the new tactics. And while that is true, me and my colleagues went back through old binders the other week of old ads that the BBB took out in like the 60s. Some of these with the Journal Star, right? Back in the day, and there are so many through lines between what is reported, what was reported then, and what is reported now. There's a letter to the editor about what amounts to a reshipping scam, a work from home opportunity that isn't real. There's a fake puppy animal adoption scam from 1965. There are all kinds of sweepstakes related frauds that were successful in the 60s, successful today. So a lot of these tactics, maybe the way that they're deployed is unique, but what it actually gets at, the humanity, the urge to act in the moment, to look past the research and the details, is something that we've been battling for a half century. And to me, there is something slightly encouraging and optimistic about that, right? You don't need to feel so afraid about what is happening nowadays, because it's been happening for a good long while. And the best practices are foundational, and I think can guide New Year's resolutions and all manner of decisions throughout your year.
Yeah, so it's the same scams. It's just different methods of deployment, whether it's taking out an ad in the newspaper now or just making some sort of Facebook post. That's really interesting. So, looking at those 474 scams reported in Nebraska, number one, online purchases. And if you look at the surrounding states, Iowa, the Dakotas, Kansas, Missouri, online purchases, all number one. Not surprising in your eyes?
No, not surprising at all. I do want to provide a little bit of background just on how we try to delineate what's an online purchase from what's a phishing, from what's an employment-related scam. In a lot of cases, there are commonalities with the report, right? But we try to take what is the central reason why the scam occurred and deploy the report or categorize the report in that bucket. It is an imperfect science, but there is a great lot of conversations that go into categorizing all of these reports. Online purchases, of course, are ubiquitous in 2025. I don't know how many of us did all of our online shopping or all of our shopping online throughout the holidays, as opposed to going into an actual physical retail store last year. But I know that percentage is rapidly growing. You think about the amount of packages we expect to be delivered on our front door on a weekly, if not monthly basis, and that is, it would stand to reason that there would be some folks who are looking to wedge their way into that market.
I think my best purchase I made going back to this Christmas was actually an in-store purchase, though, over at Shields, and I got one of the, I think it's like a 6-foot long rope for the dogs for a little tug of war. And it's just the biggest rope I think I've ever seen in my life, and the dogs love it, and the kids like watching the dogs play with it. So again, the in-store purchases are good. So again, do more of those, right?
Please support small businesses. A 6-foot piece of rope probably was purchased at some point in the 1960s as well. That is, people have always been, in need of products like that. So yes, please support your local businesses. That is a very good way to avoid all of the online related scams that have been reported to us, is to do your shopping in person.
It is. And Josh, you mentioned it, it's really hard to fit, scam into just one bucket, whether it's online purchases or phishing and stuff like that. So all of these, as we go through the top 10 list here, all kind of, they don't have hard boundaries. Number one, though, is online purchase. 2 is phishing. 3 is employment scams. 4 is debt collections. 5, fake invoices or supplier bills. 6, sweepstakes, lottery, or prizes. 7, government agency imposter. That one's a little scary. 8 is investment. 9, travel, vacation, or timeshare. And 10, home improvement scam. So again, a pretty wide variety there through that list.
Yeah, I really do see these categories as being mirrors for society, right? There are a lot of folks looking for remote or hybrid positions. So it would, and back in my day, you had to fill out a physical application to apply for a job, and now you can apply for 10 in under 5 minutes.
You had to go into the store and ask for an application, and then you had to fill it out. I remember that.
Yes. So there are people have been hoping to win the lottery for as long as there has been a lottery. And phishing, of course, we have people that are receiving more communication than at any point in human history, and not all of it is real, and frankly, a staggering amount of it looks very real because of how much information and technology we have at our disposal to scale efforts to appear as though it's coming from your bank or from Medicare, what have you. So I do think that this reflects a lot of broader societal trends. This shouldn't be surprising to a lot of folks, and yet it's still something to be aware of. If for no other reason, just having a general idea that these types of scams are perpetrated locally here, you're going to make decisions with a little bit more caution, the hope is.
And you said, Josh, just a few minutes ago that some of the ways to avoid some of these are pretty foundational, pretty basic steps that aren't just going to guard against one type of scam. They're going to really guard against all of them. We could spend 20 minutes going through that whole list, but really broadly, top 3 or 4 things that you think folks just need to kind of do their, a New Year's scam avoidance resolution for the folks who might be watching.
Yeah, really try to think about your conversations as happening from 30,000 feet. It's very easy to accept when you receive a phone call and the caller ID might say something that lends a degree of trust. You might get a phone call from someone allegedly from the IRS, right? You might receive a communication, an email from your bank. A lot of those conversations are real, but some of them are not. And so it's really imperative that the person on the other end of the line, whether it be over a text message, a phone call, or an email, is doing a degree of proving who they are, right? Treading carefully with that conversation, because the vast majority of the scams that are reported to us originated with unsolicited communication. So you didn't opt in to receive that communication, it came to you. And it's very important that you know that there are folks out there who are acting on behalf of organizations, whether, you mentioned the law enforcement angle. There's a reason why law enforcement impersonation scams are incredibly effective, right? It's because someone is hiding behind a badge that carries a certain degree of respect from everyone within the public space. There's a reason why that's weaponized, right? So remembering that you are talking to a stranger and making that person deserve your time and attention is going to be essential. Relying on research, right? If you're going to work through a new business, have a general sense for how they conduct transactions, how long they've been in business, whether they've got a physical location. If you can't make it to that store in person, know that they are actually existing somewhere, right? Is a really useful compass to guide your decision making. Safeguarding personal information. I know it can be very easy to say, well, it's a free account. I'll give up my name, my email address, my phone number. That's a lot of information, right? Make sure it's deserving of that risk, because that information can be used against you. Having a general sense for email and password hygiene. If you can change out your passwords quarterly and not have them mirror one another, I know it's slightly more complicated, but it'll make your accounts a lot more secure. And your information is your currency in 2025. So try to protect it as best you can.
Yeah, it can be tough because we all have so many passwords nowadays. But again, just changing them out. I mean, quarterly, like you said, twice a year, something. Anything is better than nothing. Josh, one of the last things we wanted to talk about, we've all seen in the news, obviously, the last week or so, the wildfires that have been happening out in California. Again, this is something that's affecting a lot of people, and obviously something that a lot of folks want to help out with, but this is also one of those times that scammers see this as an opportunity for them to profit off of other people's misfortune.
Unfortunately, what happens in the wake of natural disasters or tragedies is that you have people who are looking to get a cut of that action, because the human condition wants us to support, wants us to reach out, wants us to do something to help someone in need. You want to make sure that your money is going to its intended use. You really have no guarantee that it will if it's going to a new organization, an organization that doesn't have a proven track record. As simple as that sounds, and there are new organizations that are created each and every week that absolutely come to have a trustworthy, dependable place in our communities. But you really don't know that they can get to the front lines of a wildfire, right? You just don't. And so if you can work through organizations, charities that have proven to be accountable in the past, that's a really good place to start. We have an entire website dedicated to actually distilling that information for you. It's called give.org. We have 20 standards for charitable accountability. It covers everything from whether or not you've got a board of directors to whether or not you disclose how much of your budget goes to marketing expenses versus actual support of relief organizations. So you'll find entities like the American Red Cross, you'll find the Salvation Army on this website. You'll also find some organizations that haven't really been transparent in the past. And it's better to know that before rather than after you make a check out to someone. Also, please tread carefully with things like crowdfunding sites. Not all of them vet the organizations or the initiatives that appear on their website the same way. And you're going to want some vetting if you're providing money to someone who says that they're going to help the firefighters or to help somebody rebuild their home. All that information is really important to look into before rather than after.
Yeah, all good tips, Josh. Again, it's you want your money to go for a good cause. You don't want it to go into a bad guy's pocket. So just doing, again, a little bit of research on the front end can certainly make a big difference. And so, again, like you said, you got information on BBB, or give.org to kind of find those best places. Josh, is there anything else you want to get mentioned, whether it's about the top scams 24 or 25 resolutions, or about anything else at all?
I would just highlight the importance of reporting an experience. I think on a human level, it's really sad that it's accepted that you're going to run into scams and fraud when you log on to the internet or when you go about living your life. And I do feel like, and this is maybe just the optimistic or idealistic side of me, but I do think that if we band together and call things out when we see them, that the world can be a little bit safer from needing to experience that. But the only way any of that happens is by reporting. So please take a little bit of time in 2025. Maybe that could be a New Year's resolution for you, is spending a little bit of time trying to protect others in the ways that you can. You don't need to be law enforcement to protect the public. We all have a place and a role in that fight. So please come forward with your experience. If you do see something, please say something.
Absolutely, well said. It only takes a minute or two to fill out that scam report on bbb.org, and again, it's a minute or two well spent. So, Josh, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Hope you have a good one. All right.
You too, Bill. Thanks so much.
All right, that was Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau. Really appreciate his time. As always, again, today, appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, for more information, you can find all of our segments with Josh or Jesse on 1011now.com if you just search Consumer Safety Spotlight. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and watching. Again, as always, hope everyone has a nice Monday. And until next time, we'll see you later.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.